I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
But in the kingdom, we're going to have that power like the angels, but we're going to be what you call extraterrestrial. In other words, we're not going to be regular terrestrial like we are right now. Because what happened is, in the ancient world, we had that power. We had that power when we were on a level like gods. But what happened is, the Most High took that power from us. Over the generations and over the years, the Lord took that power from us. But we're going to get that back. We're going to get that power back coming into the kingdom.
I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
When we think about the kingdom, most brothers think of like the small, minute terms. But the vastness of the kingdom, the greatness of the kingdom, dealing with the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and the information alone that we're going to receive when we get to the kingdom, that's on a whole nother level. Never mind the riches and the lands and the women and the children, and to be in your chariot, sipping some yayan, on your chalice, your gold chalice with all them rubies and emeralds and sapphires and the different precious stones, going to places.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
No one, no matter how vivid a brother's imagination is, there's nothing in comparison to what's coming. You can't even imagine. You can't even paint the picture or write into words or give an explanation that even comes close to the majesty that's coming. We are destined for greatness in the new righteous kingdom.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
The brother with the most vivid imagination out there can't imagine what the kingdom of heaven has in store, what it's going to be like. What we're basing the kingdom of heaven as far as riches and having a good time and things of that nature is just based off of our experiences in this world and what we think having a good time is and living the life is. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. There are pleasures forevermore at thy right hand. So the kingdom that's coming is going to be set up and established in righteousness. The Israelites are going to be changed. Thy people shall be all righteous. Not one Israelite is going to be lost, because the promise that the Most High made to Abraham was to all that seed. And the seed of the promise went from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. Every seed that came out of Jacob is a part of the ones that are going to receive the benefits that the Most High promised to blessed Abraham.
A transfer of rulership is coming, and the kingdom of heaven will be on earth. Righteousness will be spread throughout the whole four corners of the earth. Wickedness will be put down. According to the Holy Scriptures, Yahweh Shai, the Son of the Most High, is set to bring immortality to the nation of Israel, the elect, via establishing the tabernacle of David. As we talk about the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, he is coming to take down this current world ruled by Esau, Edom, and establish a righteous kingdom, which is synonymous with the throne of David. That's scriptural, which is a government that's going to run this world in righteousness.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. All right, what I want to go into, all right, today, dealing with the news and prophecy, morning news and prophecy. And just go into, the digital tower of Babel, that concept, because as, we understand, all right, when you go into dealing with, okay, the Tower of Babel, back in the book of Genesis, okay, the 10th and 11th chapter, it speaks on those things. And what we have to understand, they represent a rebellion, okay, in the earth, okay. There's one world government which the Lord never pushed, for all nations to come under the banner of this one world order, okay, under, all right, the heathen, okay. And even back then, you can credit, all right, or credit that Tower of Babel as being under Satan, okay, because Satan goes into adversary, which is adverse to righteousness, the spirit of being adverse to righteousness, okay. So that spirit of rebellion, is rooted in Satanism, okay. It's all about rebellion against a righteous way. When you go into the tenets of Satanism, okay, it's just rooted in being rebellious against the righteous way, okay. When they speak about liberty, okay, they speak about rebellion against righteousness, okay. And Esau, Edom, he has manipulated people to look at righteousness as a restraint, it's putting bounds on men, stopping men from being all that they can be, okay. And this devil, what he does, he presents his technology as a way to transcend the restraints, okay, of the Most High, okay. And that's why scriptures, let's go here. I got a few precepts I want to get, okay. And I got a video I want to get into, but let's go here, because the Bible, gives us the mind of this devil, Esau, Edom, okay. And this is why we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, and it's on a whole nother level. You see, people are still ignorant of the wickedness of what this devil is doing, okay. People don't understand the direct rebellion, okay, and then blasphemy of the devil towards the Most High, okay. It says Psalms 2:1, and this is in the AMP. It says, why are the nations in the uproar, okay, in turmoil against the Most High? Okay, and you go into the word uproar, it goes into what a confusion of voices, man. Because the Tower of Babel, what did it represent? A confusion. Okay, what came with the Tower of Babel? Confusion. The languages was confounded. Okay, so now these heathens have got back together under Esau. Okay, in rebellion and uproar against the Most High again. Okay, and this time they're doing it through what? Technology. Okay, because this devil uses technology as a way to rebel against the Most High, trying to clone people, trying to clone meat, trying to, artificial simulation, and all these different things that he's doing with technology is a complete rebellion. Okay, GMO food, plastic surgery. Okay, the juice, mRNA juicing, everything that this man does, his surgery. Okay, his technology has been used to what? Rebel against the Most High. All right, and present as if he has some better way. He presents to the world, okay, as if this is the way. Okay, he says, and why do the people devise a vain and hopeless plot? Okay, because everything that this devil is trying to pull off is vain and is hopeless, man. Okay, he just has an allotted time, to try to pull this off before the Lord shows his power. You see, Esau is okay on the path to judgment. You see, everything he's doing is in complete vain. The trillions of gazillions of dollars he spent, okay, the centuries of enchantments, because this ideology goes way back. Okay, in the spirit it goes back to the garden. Okay, and in this time frame it goes back centuries. Okay, going back to the Enlightenment era. Okay, this devil, all right, trying to unite the world. Okay, under Satanism. All right, through technology, man. You see, it says Psalms 2:2 said the kings of the earth take their stand and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed, okay, saying, let us break apart their divine bands of restraint and cast away their cords of control from us. Okay, and this is what the path that he thinks he's on with this technology, that he's just going to be able to break away from the restraint of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. In his mind, he's going to reach immortality, okay, by doing as thou wilt through technology. Okay, the hell with the righteous standard and order of the Most High. He's like, look, I'm gonna bless myself. Okay, I'm gonna do what I want to do and still be blessed with prosperity. Okay, and then he promises that to the masses, which only thing coming for them is the digital prison. Okay, but these devils, this is how they think up top. Okay, this is how these devils think up top, man. These elites. Okay, let's go to Psalms 10 uh and 3. It said, for the wicked, all right, boasts and sings the praise of his heart's desire. Because the devil is always speaking on, what he wants to do next, what he's about to bring about next. Okay, this agenda, that agenda. By this time, we're gonna have this. And, all right, the job market is gonna be this, and AI gonna be at general intelligence by this time, and super intelligence by this time, this and that. Okay, all he does is just boast. Okay, and what he wants to bring to the earth, man. Okay, and his heart's desire is that the earth to be ran off AI and him to run AI. He wants the people of the earth to answer to his AI, his creation. Okay, while he, okay, governs the AI. Okay, he wants to tap into immortality on the left hand side. This is what, all right, this devil, this is heart's desire. This is what he's obsessed with, man. Okay, it says, and the greedy man, all right, it says, and the greedy man curses and spurns and even despises the Lord. Okay, this is an anti-Messiah system. Okay, that this devil, okay, is trying to roll out. Okay, it's already an anti-Messiah society, but now he wants to double down and create a complete control system that's anti-Messiah. Okay, that's completely against Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. You know, it says the wicked in the haughtiness of his face would not seek nor inquire for him, the Most High. All his thoughts are, there is no Most High, so there is no accountability or punishment, man. Okay, and this devil thing he has transcended. Okay, being held accountable by the Most High or being punished by the Most High. He thinks he's transcended it. You know, he thinks that he's tapped into something, okay, to where he's exempt from that judgment. Okay, like you heard that devil, Yuval Harari made the statement, look, we can make, the Most High as mad as we want. Okay, and he represents, these councils or these elites, because they're just, the WEF, and they're just do boys, okay, for the elites, but they're around these elites, and you best believe that's how they talk. Okay, as if they've inquired, some type of knowledge and technology, left hand magic to where they're above accountability now. Okay, but they're deceived. Okay, and there's no one that's deceived like Esau Edom. Okay, no one's deceived on a level like he is. All right, the fact that he's trying to pull this off. Okay, so I want to go here. Okay, they're gonna speak on some few things. We're gonna jump around. All right, and he said the technocratic world is here. Okay, is the title of the lesson, and I put it in the. Now these are both Christians. Patrick Wood is a Christian, so certain thing he goes off on. They come with the information, they be on point, but then when they try to break it down in scripture, that's when it go left. But far as the information that comes out, he has majority solid information. But when he tries to go biblical with it, all right, and they be right every sometimes dealing with the Bible, they put two and two together, but as far as the full understanding of the Bible, relating these things to the Bible, they don't fully have it. But I will say this, these Edomites, okay, historians and theologians, they do get into things. Okay, the nigga church don't get into nothing. All right, but they will get into some things. If he's an Edomite, this guy Patrick Wood. But we're gonna play this. Like I say we'll go from there. We'll stop as need be.
Is what it is. In any case, the scientists and engineers of that day, they thought that they could do better because they thought the capitalism was going to implode, and probably was going to in their eyes. But they wanted to create a brand new economic system based on not just supply and demand, but managed resources. In other words, everything in sight, including the people. And they wanted to regulate the whole thing with universal basic income in the form of energy script at that point. That didn't pan out exactly, but we see UBI today all over the place.
Sure.
And as a resource-based economic system, it's incredible that anybody would think that all of the resources of the world should be taken out of our hands and put into like a global common trust.
Wow.
To allocate to us. This is not what God planned in the first place.
Right.
What he said, the whole world was given to us for our support, right? For our maintenance as human race. Well, they have.
And everything, belongs to the Lord. Everything belongs to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. So that's wicked, because in this system, these devils want to hoard up all the resources, okay, to themselves, all right, and distribute them, to you through a system of credits, digital credits, okay, and that's a completely wicked system, man, okay, because you go into the scriptures, see if I can find it, all right, because even we had a system, okay, that you had the year of Jubilee, okay, that would free Israelites from debt. Okay, so that you wouldn't have, you know, generations of poverty. Okay. All right, so let's get a few precepts. Okay. Let's go here. Okay, so this system, like I say, this system of these devils, all right, are trying to implement is completely anti-Messiah. Okay, because even when you go here to just pull up a few precepts. Okay, it says several biblical precepts state that everything belongs to the Lord. Most notably Psalms 24:1. All right, so when you keep reading, it says Psalms 24:1, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. Okay, so this devil, he's trying to do this. He wants everything in the earth to belong to him and everyone that live in it. Okay, this is complete rebellion. Okay, and these devils know about these precepts, man. Okay, but Esau don't give a damn. Okay, Esau don't care about nothing, man. He's in complete rebellion. That's why when you take that sea hip, all right, that's you officially, without a doubt, okay, making a vow and aligning yourself with this rebellion, man. Okay, and that's why the judgment is what it is. Revelation 14:9 said, Deuteronomy 10:14, behold, the Lord, all right, to the Lord your power belong heaven and the highest heavens, the earth and all that is in it. All right, this emphasizes the Most High's ownership extends to the highest heaven as well as the earth. Okay, Haggai 2:8, it says, the silver is mine and the gold is mine, declares the Lord of hosts. This verse specifically names precious metals as belonging to the Most High. Okay, and this man wants to hoard all these things unto himself and distribute it to people as he see fit. And he's going to do it in a he plans on doing it in a very wicked way, you know, linking it to a social credit score. Okay, it's just completely wicked. Psalms 50:10-12, it said, for every beast of the forest is mine, every animal on the hills and the cattle on the 1,000 hills. This verse, all right, is an expansion of the Most High's ownership of all creatures, man. Okay, so this devil, he wants to put a C hip in everything. He wants to be able to, uh, uh, uh you know, distribute the wealth as he see fit. He wants to play the Most High because it's the Most High that blesses men. Okay, with things in the earth, man, land, resources, family, you know, wealth. Okay, status is the Most High. All those come from the Most High. Okay, but he wants a system where he's in charge of that. Okay, he wants to regulate creation to his liking. You know, and I say he wants to link it to a wicked social credit score to where you have to behave to his liking, all right, to have access to resources, man. Okay, and this is the system that the devil, all right, is rolling out real time right now. Okay, so let's play this some more.
Have other ideas, obviously, and they want to control all the resources, make sure that you and I don't have our unfair allocation. So,
Wow.
in any case, fast forward, technocracy took root in the 1970s with David Rockefeller and Zbigniew Brzezinski when they founded the Trilateral Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And going forward from there, they passed it off to the United Nations. They renamed it, if you will, rebranded it as Agenda 21 and Sustainable Development. That's why we have this today.
Yeah.
So, you know, fast forward from there, from Agenda 21 days and 2030 Agenda, today we have, you know, this whole business of convergent science at this point, NBIC, nano, cogno, information technology, and so on. This is morphed into a monster at this point because technology has been unleashed in incredible, unprecedented fashion.
Yeah.
And today we see AI is just basically, he wants to eat the whole world right now. It's apparent, and this is the pinnacle of technocratic success at this point. AI has made their day.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And I have a lot to ask you about all the implications of this and what we see setting up around us in this regards. But before I go into that, I want you to speak to the mindset of this, because so those individuals that are engineering technocracy, and it turned into Agenda 21 and whatnot, and the Rockefellers and all the people that you mentioned with the Trilateral Commission, what is their frame of reference? What I mean by that is, what is motivating them to create something like this? Because you talk about a resource-based economy where we basically don't own anything. They would control all of that. And that goes diametrically opposed to what Scripture says about even just the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not steal, which implies the right to private property of individuals.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like in their system, where are they getting this inspiration from to do something like this?
Well, you can certainly trace it back to the devil himself.
Okay,
sure.
Well, there you go.
Okay, just get it right out. But
you're right.
Yeah. So he said you can, he said where they're getting the inspiration to do this. He said from the devil himself, man, and that's absolutely right, man. Okay, that's absolutely right. All right, let's go here. Okay. All right, when you get 2 Thessalonians 2, all right, this is the seed of Satan. All right, these Edomites, man. 2 Thessalonians 2:7 said, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And this was the time of the Edom. All right, the Edomites ruling in Rome. All right, the pagan, all right, Roman Empire under Edom. Okay, was already in work. Okay, so this spirit of anti-Messiah was already in rulership, but it will fall and come back. Okay, and the Lord would allow him, to reign. All right, in this little season. Okay, the scriptures speak about, this little season. And then he will be taken out of the way, which it will be spearheaded through a war with God, okay, with aka Russia. Okay, it says, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is the prophets. Okay, because through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, through the ministry of the prophet, this man has been fully revealed. The wicked, okay, has been unveiled in the earth. Okay, so there's no denying who's the wicked, okay, that the Bible speaks of, man. Okay, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. That's the coming of Yahweh Shai. Okay, which is going to physically remove this man from power, physically destroy this man. All right, wicked infrastructure, his kingdom. Okay, America's going to be turned to, all right, a desert, man. Okay, and everything that this man is trying to establish is going to be destroyed, man. All these data centers, all this going to be destroyed. Okay, all this new world order infrastructure, this AI infrastructure, all this going to be destroyed at the coming of Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, verse 2, it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders. And you read this in the AMP. Let's get this in the AMP. Okay. 2:9. All right. It says 2 Thessalonians 2:9. It says the coming of the anti-Messiah, the lawless one, which is not speaking of one person, is speaking of a system. All right. This is an anti-Messiah system. One, all right, and through the activity of Satan, okay, attended, all right, with great power, all kinds of counterfeit miracles and deceptive signs and false wonders, all of them lies, man, and his technology plays a part, okay, his counterfeit miracles and deceptive signs, man, okay, because he's presenting his AI as a god, okay, presenting his AI as if AI is all knowing, all powerful. Okay, so it's a deception, man. Okay, a lot of these things that this devil is on is deception. Okay, he has certain access to the left hand. All right, to where he's privy to certain things, and you know he's able to be steps ahead. Okay, but what this man is trying to present as transcending the Most High is a lie. All right, and he's completely inspired by Satan. Okay, to do these things. You see, so let's go back. Um,
The people. I'm not saying that the people at Columbia University were worshiping the devil.
Right.
Nevertheless, we
Right.
see
yeah, all of them were. All these, because these colleges are nothing but think tanks. All these devils. There's nothing but a breeding
the
ground.
seeds planted there.
All right, these colleges are nothing but think tanks and breeding grounds. All right, for the leaders of the world. All right, these colleges, all right, are where they come, okay, and they filter out. That's why they have GPAs and this and that. They come get and recruit, okay, the greatest thinkers to forward their agenda. Okay, put them down with these secret societies to where now they have leverage on them with all this wickedness and freakiness that they do, and they make them, they push them to the point of no shame, and they recruit them for their new world order agenda. That's what all these colleges are for, man. Especially these certain, so-called prestigious, universities. Okay, there's nothing but a grooming, okay, and recruitment. All right, environment for the elites, man. You know.
To turn everything upside down vis-a-vis creation.
Yeah.
And they had this crazy thought that they could somehow, with technology, they could hijack evolution. They didn't believe in God, but nevertheless, they thought, well, evolution has been unkind to us, and so we need to take the reins now that we have the tools to do something about it. And so now we're going to take over all creative issues going forward, including the DNA makeup of man and matter as well, with nanotechnology and biotechnology and information technology and so on. Well, this is just spits in the eye of God. Nevertheless, they weren't religious back then. I have to say that not overtly. Okay.
Yeah.
But we can see the shades of religion all along when they talk about these things. And honestly, if you go back to kind of the father of technocracy in the first place, it was a French philosopher by the name of Henri de Saint-Simon. You can look him up.
Okay.
But about the early 1800s, he proposed a religion that was based on science. And he said, well, forget God. Okay, what we need to do, we need to elevate science to a position of godhood and create a priesthood of engineers and scientists. That's exactly what he said. It's crazy.
Wow.
He didn't understand where it was all going at that point, but the technological revolution was already underway at that point. There were signs of it, and he got wind of that. So he seeded a lot of the stuff that we see today. For instance, his main disciple of that, you probably appreciate this.
And that whole spirit of what science is God. All right. Like I said, all that comes from the age of enlightenment, which was nothing but the philosophy of the serpent. All right, put back in the earth. Okay. Now I had looked up this guy, okay, that he talked about, this French hold on, let me pull him back up. The chat had Say Henry D. Saint Simon. Okay, so let me look this devil up real quick. All right, but this whole concept of science is God. All right, it's nothing but Satanism. Okay, and that's the philosophy of the serpent. All right, rearing his head in society today. And you go back into the age of enlightenment. Okay, that's when this devil started to bring all this mysticism. Okay, all this Greco-Roman. Okay, philosophy. Okay, they started to infiltrate schools, because colleges, the apostles brought it out. Colleges were built for people to go become advanced, okay, in the Bible. You go to Cambridge and certain colleges, they was founded, all right, to be an advanced, to advance men, okay, in their study of the Bible, okay. But as these things became infiltrated, they became, okay, places of what? To contest the Bible. That's why when you go to these colleges now, most things are being taught, okay, they contest, all right, the Bible, okay. So you go to this guy, Henry Saint Simon, okay. Let me look it up. Let's see, who was he? Let's see, philosophy. So they was able to, infiltrate government, okay, music, okay, to where they just run everything now. That's why you see everything has a satanic, all right, technocrat agenda. I said, from the music, the movies, the schools, okay, everything has a satanic, all right, agenda to it, man, because they infiltrated everything. All right. Let me see. Influence. Uh, Heavily. Let's pull them up. Yeah, so you go into this guy, that he's speaking of, Henry. Let's see. Yeah, Henry D. Saint Simon. Okay. And this goes back, and this was the time of enlightenment. You go into the 1700s. Okay, it says Henry D. Saint Simon was a French social theorist and one of the earliest founders of modern sociology, technocracy, and socialist thought. Okay, this is going back to 1760. All right, so this has been a long time coming, man. This ideology now, okay, this is what dominates the world. At first there was a minority, they had to infiltrate, because even the Illuminati going to it, they was ran off a few times. They had to meet in secret, not because they were trying to be, so secretive, but because, they will be banned by certain governments, man. When Esau, these elitists would try to bring this, to the forefront, they will be banned. But eventually, they began to infiltrate, different governments and business sectors, and the bankers were behind them, the elites. Okay. So now, all right, we see that this way of thinking dominates the earth. Okay. Where the earth has been grown for a technocracy, man. Okay. It says, although less famous today than Marx or Cormick, his ideas had a surprising strong influence on how modern, all right, technological societies imagine progress, expertise, and industrial organization. All right. It says, born aristocrat, fought in the American Revolution, all right, and later became a radical social reformer, which had lived during the turbulent post-revolutionary period in France. All right, core ideas, all right, of Saint Simon. Society should be led by scientists, engineers, and industrialists, not kings or clergy. Okay, he argued that traditional elites, nobility, church were parasitic, and that productive members of society and inventors, industrial leaders, scientists, workers should guide politics. This is the foundation of technocracy. Progress comes from scientific knowledge and industrial, all right, and industrial development. He believed science should direct social policy, industrial and economic productivity as a measure of social advancement. Social organization should be rational, planned, and cooperative rather than chaotic markets and hereditary privilege. He envisioned large scale state planning, public works coordination, and production through expertise. Some see this as a precursor of both socialism and modern technocrat governance, man. Okay, so this ideology has been in the working, all right, for centuries, man. Okay, and then they push these false sentiments, these false goals, okay, to overcome poverty, to reduce conflict. All right, and that's why they're creating poverty. That's why they're creating conflict, so they can present technology as a way to solve it. When they want to use technologies to play the most high, okay, and enslave people in a digital prison. Okay, eventually unify nations into a peaceful global order. Okay, this part was extremely utopian, man. And see, they want a utopian for them, but a dystopian for everyone else. Okay, you see, and we see all these things, okay, happening today. That's why you see all these experts coming to the forefront. Your Peter Thiels, your, your Sam Altmans, okay, your Larry Ellisons, and all right, your Elon Musk. Okay, these are nothing but faces of technocracy, man. But this ideology go way back. Okay, it said his idea that scientific and technical experts should give decision making is visible in government regulatory agencies, central banks run by economists, public health technocracies, climate science-based policy, AI governance framework, global institutions like the EU or UN agencies. All right, you see that? So this already been trending towards a technocracy for a while. Okay, global governments of the experts, okay, of the science. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's go back to the
His main disciple was Auguste Comte, the father of social sciences.
Wow. Okay,
in the world, right?
Go.
So,
wow.
So in any case, I think this is going to turn religious on us really quickly, because AI at this point is gaining so much information in it and the learning of it. And people are already talking about an AI God going forward.
Right. So Patrick, is this the religion of scientism? Is that part of it?
Absolutely. No, that's why I said that was where scientism started with Henri de Saint-Simon, right?
Yeah.
So this basically is the worship of science. And the early technocrats didn't say necessarily that they were thinking about Henri de Saint-Simon or scientism, but we can see it. It's obvious to anybody who looked at it. It's all about science. It's all about the worship of science. And in the last century, we had some great authors talking about scientism, like C.S. Lewis, for instance. F.A. Hayek wrote a lot about it. Mm-hmm. We should have been forewarned, right? But nobody paid attention. At this point, nobody knows who C.S. Lewis was.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, excellent point. So let me ask you this question before I go into some particulars. Do these individuals, obviously scientism would be an atheistic type of religion, where man is God. But do they really believe? Let me back up. Is there a portion of them that realize, man, we could control everything? And is there a portion of them that says, no, we're wanting to benefit mankind, we want to do good? So, I mean, is there different mindsets in this? Because obviously it's massive control. I can see what's going on. But then a lot of these people, how do they sleep at night is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, there can't be, these evil guys with cigars in the back of rooms saying we're going to control it all. Because it looks like they always come out and say, well, this is going to benefit humans. We're going to have people be able to walk again with.
Yeah, them niggas lying, all right? And they sleep, all right, perfectly good at night. Okay? Matter of fact, as we know, all right, I'm gonna fast forward that, but let's go here, because he asked how they sleep. All right, they sleep damn good. Okay. And matter of fact, when you go to Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 16, all right, just to prove the point, in Proverbs 4 and 16, it says, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. All right, so they have no problem sleeping after they've set up some new wickedness in the earth, man. All right, this man is built to take peace from the earth. All right, that's his purpose. Okay, and the people get so disappointed, so confused because they like, okay, no one would do this. Just because you won't think it doesn't mean that this ain't how they think. Just because you wouldn't do it, that doesn't mean that they won't do it. Okay, you try to make this man fit within your rationale of humanity. Esau don't think like that. Okay, he doesn't mind destroying the planet Earth. Okay, for his enjoyment, his pleasure. He doesn't mind seeing the masses suffer while he has more than enough. Okay, this is Micah 2:1 said, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Okay, so this man, all right, he's most comfortable when he's bringing and establishing wickedness in the earth. Okay, he's not thinking about doing good with his resources and technology and the science. He's not thinking of that to do good to people. He'll say it, all right. He might help a nigga too, but that ain't what his technology is for, man. Okay, it's for him to be a satanic tyrant in the earth. Okay, so you people with these hopes, all right, and thinking that that this man has some type of good, that he's having a hard time sleeping while he's doing all this wickedness. Nah, man, he can't sleep until he do the wickedness, man. Okay, that's how he's made. So, let's go from there. Let's go back.
Things, and I'll acknowledge that. But it seems to me that you have all this money and have this ability, you start taking on a God complex that, well, we can do anything. And so it reminds me of the mentality, Patrick, of the Tower of Babel. Let us build a tower under the heavens, and what does God say? Nothing's beyond what they can do.
Yes. Isn't it interesting that the heavens are in view again?
Right.
There you go.
It's like the same story just keeps repeating, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Okay,
forget it.
So yeah, he said, he like, look, this is like the Tower of Babel. He like they've gotten so proud, these technocrats. It's like they're trying to achieve the Tower of Babel again. Okay, which when you go into that, I pulled it up. All right, let's go into it in the chat. All right, and we go into it often, but I refresh these things. So I asked the chat, dealing with this ideology of technocracy. I said, can this ideology be linked to the concept of the Tower of Babel? Could Nimrod be associated with a global rebellion? It says, yes, you can draw a meaningful conceptual link between Saint Simonian ideology and certain interpretation of the Tower of Babel narrative, especially if you focus on the themes of technological ambition, centralized power, and global unity. Okay, and many theological okay, and mythological tradition do associate Nimrod with a form of global rebellion. Okay, so when you go into it, said the Tower of Babel, it's like in themes and symbolism. In Genesis 11, humanity unites to build a tower with its top in the heavens. Key symbolic themes include technological ambition. All right, the people use advanced technology for their time, bricks for stone, okay, and bitumen for mortar. This is often read as a metaphor for human innovation and engineering. Centralized authority and unity under one system. Everyone speaks one language and acts in a single organized, all right, and act as a single organized society. Human aspiration is self-directed progress. The uh, uh, the state goal is to what? Make a name for ourselves. Okay, to achieve something monumental without divine authority. Okay, it says a rebellion of human autonomy. Many theological interpretation describe this as humanity seeking independence from the Most High, creating a self-sufficient global order, replacing divine authority with human planning. Okay, it's the same thing we see in today, man. It's a technological, all right, Tower of Babel that this devil is trying to, all right, throw together today. Okay, it said the Most High's intervention as a check against totalized human power. The confusion of languages prevents a monolithic, technocratic, all right, world state. All right, can Saint, yeah, can Saint Simonian Salaki ideology relate to Babel? It says a unified global society coordinated by scientific planners, a leadership class of engineers, scientists, and industrialists, technological progress as a path to human perfection, centralization, okay, of authority around experts and industrial scale. These things parallel certain, okay, interpretations of Babel. Both, okay, the Babel narrative and Saint Simeon propose a unified human society under a single organizational structure. Saint Simeon saw this as positive. The Bible story presents it as potentially dangerous. Okay, so this devil, what he's doing is nothing new under the sun. All right, he just has more technology, okay, in his attempt to pull this off. Okay, so um, I got one more part in this video I want to play, and then we'll get the last couple of precepts. So let's go here. I want to jump to about the 33-minute mark.
Both technocracy and transhumanism. So you find many transhumans are technocrats and vice versa.
Infrastructure they're making, but you link it to transhumanism. And why do they care about that? Is it because they believe they're the new gods and they'll give it everlasting life through technology? Why is there a link there?
Well, there's two links for sure. One is based on science itself, the so-called convergent science, NBIC. That supports both technocracy and transhumanism. So you find many transhumans are technocrats and vice versa.
Really?
People like Elon Musk, for instance, he's a total transhumanist. So is Peter Thiel and the whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Mark and Greece, and they're all transhumanists based on the same science. However, the overarching concept that Klaus Schwab brought to the table at the World Economic Forum, they're creating the Great Reset was the expression of a new society, a new infrastructure for society, right? Where you'll own nothing and be happy, as they said. And so they're creating this reset economic system that will basically be technocracy. But in their mind, they blame us for the ones that are screwing this world up today, because whatever we've done is bad in their eyes. So why would they want to put old people like us into their new world? You see, that
Yes, I get it.
New wine and new wine skins, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why you talk to people like Harari.
Yeah.
He says, well, technology is going to go under your skin, and you're going to be modified. You're going to be hacked to death with the technology, and your DNA is going to change. We're going to make you more docile and less warlike, whatever. It doesn't matter. But they envision creating humanity 2.0 to populate society 2.0.
Wow. And so they want to basically social engineer the human race to,
Yes.
I would imagine that they want them to think like they do. That's for sure, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because old guys like myself.
Yeah, man. So basically, the social engineering aspect, to prep people's minds, all right, to new world order ideology, man. That's why I say music, movies, the school curriculum, indoctrination, okay, it groom people, for these new world order concepts. And that's why the masses, are already prepped, okay, for this, man. Okay, the masses are already prepped for this concept of a technocracy. Okay, because most people worship, all right, technology anyway. Okay, and they're dependent, okay, on these experts. They look at these experts as gods. Okay, Elon Musk and your different, all right, Edomites. Okay, that they throw in the forefront. Sam Altman. The guy from OpenAI, where you get Chat GPT. These guys are already looked at. Okay, the people already look at them. All right, for innovating the world. Okay, so yeah, let's go here, man. We'll end it here. All right, and see, all this is being confined by true wisdom. You see, to those that are in the dark, this is light to them. But those who have the true light, all right, the hopeful elect, if you how about Shema Shai, man, this is foolish what this devil is trying to do. Okay, 1 Corinthians 1:25 in the AMP, it said, this is because the foolishness of the Most High is not foolishness at all. Okay, and this devil pushes the ways of the Most High as foolishness. He demonizes the herbs. He demonizes, order amongst family. He demonizes, structure, tradition. He demonizes those things. Okay. And it says, this is because the foolishness of the Most High is not foolishness at all, and is wiser than men, far beyond human comprehension, and the weakness of the Most High is stronger than men, far beyond the limit, all right, of human effort, man. You see? So the wisdom of the Most High is far beyond what this devil presents to the world as wisdom. Okay? And a lot of wisdom of the Most High is rooted in common sense. Okay? But this devil has caused so much confusion, all right, and heaped so much, he has made backwardness the standard. Okay? And people think just because it's different that they're making progress. No, you're going backwards. Yeah, you're moving, but you're going backwards. Okay? All right, verse 26 says, just look at your own calling, believers. Not many of you were considered wise according to human standards, not many powerful, influential, not many of high or noble birth. So the Lord chose the lowly of this society. And it says not many, because not many of went to college, not many of us, come from powerful, influential families. Okay. Nah, man, we come from the lowly of the lowest, man. Some brothers didn't even, finish high school. Some brothers, some sisters didn't even finish high school, man. Okay, well, the Lord has a spirit of wisdom on these men that's beyond, okay, the wisdom of this world. Okay, and it says, but the Most High has selected for his purpose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise, revealing their ignorance, okay, of what this devil is trying to pull off. Because now as we look at what this devil is doing, man, this is extremely foolish, man. Okay, this is a terrible way to try to run the earth, what this devil is trying to do. Okay, it says, and the Most High has selected for his purpose the weak things of the world to shame the things which are strong, revealing their frailty. The Most High has selected his purpose, the insignificant base things of the world, the things that are despised and treated with contempt, even the things that are nothing, so that he might reduce to nothing the things that are, man. Okay. So from the the lowly men, okay, the men of Israel, the working class men of Israel, the Lord is bringing down, all right, an empire, man, that has projected itself throughout the earth as being this wise and, powerful, okay, but the Lord is using the ministry of the prophets, okay, to uproot this place, man, beginning with exposing the foolishness, okay, that this devil is trying to pull off and present it to the world as something wise, man, but the Lord is bringing this thing to naught, okay. So that was the point. I'll leave it there. Lord will, you brothers. All right. And you sisters edified once again. I'm gonna give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutation, hopefully, shalom.